Hello everyone, I am Dr Sumit Shrivastava from Liveless, practicing physician in Kalyan. Dil Ki Baat is actually a wonderful initiative to create awareness about heart health. Conventionally, it was thought that heart disease is an illness which is likely to be affecting only people who are beyond 40 years of age. But over a period of time, it has been found that heart illness has been affecting people much younger as compared to what it was previously. The current trend is actually going to likely to worsen as per the research and all the reports which are likely to be published in all the respected journals of cardiology. 17.3 million premature deaths of cardiac illnesses are happening right now, and this over a period of time is likely to worsen to almost 23.5 million. We as individuals should be extremely careful towards our heart, and we should be taking important measures so that we take care of our heart. Today we have with us Dr. Vivek Mahajan, is an eminent cardiologist from Fortis Hospital, Kalyan, who is going to throw light on this important aspect of heart health awareness.
Thank you, Dr. Sumit. This is a very important question. This affects every family of the Indian society, and it has social and economic implications as well. Now the question is, why are we seeing such a high rise of the heart diseases, especially in the younger population? We are progressing tremendously scientifically and economically. We reach the moon, we reach the Mars. Our economy is booming like anything. But on the flip side of this, we are paying the price of this. We are also racing in terms of the heart disease and heart related deaths. Especially the heart related deaths and the heart diseases are occurring in a younger population as compared to the Western population. Heart diseases and related diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, they are affecting our population almost a decade earlier, and this is the productive phase of the life. The productive years of life are lost to the heart diseases. So what is the reason? The main reason for this is our genetics. We are genetically slightly different as compared to the Western population. We are genetically sicker than the Western population. We get easily affected by heart related illnesses and ailments as compared to the Western population. Now you may ask a question, okay, our ancestors, our previous generations, they too are similar genetic related. So why did not they have such an epidemic of younger heart disease? Why are we seeing it only now? The reason is that our previous generations had a healthy lifestyle. They had a lifestyle which was involving a lot of physical activity, and they had simple foods. Now we have traded that for comfort. We have given up our physical activity. We have become more lazy. We have started having a more of a Western diet which is not suitable for our genes. So this is fueling an epidemic of heart diseases and heart related ailments. For example, this has resulted in a epidemic of obesity. Compare our previous generation, now we see swollen up individuals. Our BMIs have increased like anything. Obesity fuels diabetes. We have earned a reputation or notoriety, I would say, that we are now the world's diabetic capital. Almost every 1 of every 8 individual or 1 of every 10 individual, 15% of our population is now diabetes, and it is like almost every family is now getting a person of diabetes in their households. This is really affecting the outcomes of the cardiovascular disease. People are developing cardiovascular disease because diabetes is one of the major risk factors for cardiovascular disease. The second epidemic that we are seeing here is high blood pressure. High blood pressure leads to cardiovascular diseases as well as strokes and neurological disorders. Every third individual now in the urban areas and every fourth individual in the rural areas is now hypertensive. And the reason for this is, of course, our genetics, but also our lifestyle and our diet. So all this taken together, the genetics and our laziness and our choice of improper diets as per our genes, has made us prone to the cardiovascular disease, and we are suffering from cardiovascular disease a decade earlier, and people are dying of this cardiovascular disease because the young hearts, they are not having critical blockages. They have not very critical blockages, but when these blockages rupture, and the blockage is something like a pimple, you would say, containing a lipid like material in it, and when this blockage ruptures, the lipid like material comes out in contact with the blood vessel, blood inside the blood vessel, and it chokes the blood vessel by causing a clotting of the blood, and the artery suddenly stops. Now the young heart, the young patient's heart is not prepared for all this. The elderly patient who may have critical blockages is gradually slowly getting prepared for a heart attack, but the young patient's heart with not so critical blockages is not prepared for a heart attack, and when such a young patient suffers a heart attack, it is a catastrophic event. There are no collaterals, there are no alternative blood flows formed by the heart like in the elderly population, and an elderly patient and a young patient who suffers from a heart attack is likely to have a catastrophic event like a cardiac arrest and even death. And that is the reason why we are seeing so many of the young peoples collapsing everywhere in gym while exercising, and all this is all related to our poor choices of diet and being lazy on top of us being genetically unhealthy.
Okay. Wonderfully put, sir. Really nice of you that to explain this thing in such an elaborate manner. The second question which I wanted to ask you is that in the post-COVID era, we have been seeing that there is a rise of these heart diseases. Do you think there is a correlation that after the pandemic, the number of people who have been suffering from heart disease is more as compared to what it was before? What is your opinion on this?
Yes, that's also a very important question, because everyone in India is now affected by COVID. There is hardly anyone who must not have got infected with COVID, whether it's a clinical or subclinical infection. Now, COVID is a peculiar virus. It is unlike any other virus. It affects the inner lining of our blood vessels. Our blood vessels inside the heart, inside the brain, there are blood vessels which has a coating which prevents blood from getting clotted. Now, COVID affected this inner lining of the blood vessel, and it caused the lining to dysfunction, and the blood used to clot inside the arteries of the patient who is affected with COVID, severe COVID basically. Now, this leads to a tendency of clotting within the blood vessels of the arteries of the heart as well as the brain, and this patient becomes prone to heart attacks and the strokes. Now, this risk is very high in the initial 2 to 3 months after a COVID infection. But even after the COVID infection heals, the damage that is inflicted on the endothelium, which we call the inner lining, may persist. It may fuel the acceleration of development of blockages inside the arteries of the heart and the brain, and they can rupture later on. Just like I said, the arteries, the blockages rupture and give rise to heart attacks or stroke, and this can occur later on also. We do not exactly know what are the long-term outcomes, long-term dangers associated with COVID, and we are just seeing things. We are seeing things like increasing number of young people coming with heart attacks. COVID may be an important contributor in the long run for this pandemic, which we are seeing about the heart ailments.
Okay. Very rightly said, sir. So then one important question is, now that we have talked about the problems, we need to educate our people about the solutions. So what do you think what are the lifestyle measures, what are the things which people should adopt so that they have a healthy heart and they just give protection for themselves and they actually create a healthy lifestyle for their family as well?
Yeah. So the problem lies in the solution. The solution is to make good choices regarding the lifestyle and diet. So what can we do? Our previous generations were more active. They involved a lot of physical activity, walking to work, doing a lot of household work, climbing stairs, washing clothes, sweeping the floor, washing the floor, etc. This entailed a lot of physical activity. We have given it up all. We are doing everything in a mechanical way. Washing machines are doing things for us, automobiles are doing things for us, escalators are doing things for us. So walk more, move more. Sitting is the new smoking. If you are sitting for 30 minutes, then it's equivalent to smoking a cigarette. So the basic idea is to keep yourself physically active wherever it's possible. Walk. It is recommended that for good heart health, you have to walk for at least 30 to 45 minutes on most days of the week. At least 5 days of the week out of the 7, you have to walk for 30 to 45 minutes. That is enough to keep your heart healthy. If you want to walk more for weight loss and all, then it's your choice. But at least 30 to 45 minutes of brisk walking is enough, is sufficient to keep your heart healthy. You do not have to run marathons, you do not have to lift heavy weights, you do not have to make six-pack abdomens to have a good heart health. For 30 to 45 minutes is sufficient. Make good dietary changes. Go back to our traditional Indian diets. Eat simple foods. Eat a lot of green leafy vegetables, salads, sprouts. Eat a lot of fruits. Avoid aerated carbonated drinks, aerated cold drinks. Avoid fruit juices. Give up red meats. Give up a lot of high fat dairy products. Give up bakery items like cakes, breads, biscuits, pastry, pizzas, burgers, which are rich in processed carbohydrates, processed foods like maida. Give up these packed foods which are rich in salt like chips, namkeens, kurkures, etc. Give up all those things. Avoid restaurant foods. Restaurant foods are high in fat because they are made to taste. They are made in such a way that it should taste better. They cannot be healthier as well as tastier. Our homemade simple foods which are made with moderate amount of oils, less amount of salt, is a very good diet. Sabzi roti, dal chawal, our traditional diet is very good. Green leafy vegetables, salads, sprouts, I already talked about this. These are the dietary choices that we have to make. Apart from the dietary choices, we have to relax. Our sleep has gone out of the wind. We are not sleeping even 7 to 8 hours a day. A person who does not sleep 7 to 8 hours a day lives less. And the main enemy of this is social media, mobile and television. So people are compromising on the sleep time because of these things. So make a point that 7 to 8 hours of sleep is you give to your body, because that will release good hormones. Otherwise the stress hormones will be circulating in your body, and that can affect the heart. Control your blood pressure, control your diabetes. See a good cardiologist and a diabetologist and a physician to control these factors like diabetes and blood pressure, your cholesterol levels. Avoid substance abuse, avoid smoking, tobaccos, alcohol. If you are going to gyms, do not do a sudden spurt of heavy exercise when you are not accustomed to. As I said, a moderate level of exercise of 30 to 45 minutes of exercise is enough. You don't have to go out of the way and do excessive superheroic exercise, superhuman exercises. That can be one reason of sudden cardiac arrest when you have minor blockages. So these are the lifestyle changes that you need to do for a good healthy heart health.
So nicely described, sir. So Dil Ki Baat, as we have announced in the beginning of this talk, is a wonderful initiative to make people aware of their heart health. And Dr. Vivek Mahajan sir has beautifully described the problems, and he has given apt solutions. So we are really fortunate that we had this session, and look forward to meet all of you some other time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Sumit.